Where did humans come from on this earth? If you also think that our ancestors were monkeys, then wait a minute. Was it really like this, or have we been told lies since childhood? Or was the truth something else? If our ancestors did not originate from monkeys, then how did they come about? This question still arouses interest. Just as the egg came first, or the hen. How did the hen come without the egg, and how did the egg come without the hen? The same question applies to us. Just as we were born from our parents, then who was our first generation child? And before that, there is also this question. Who was our first link, man or woman? Well, was it a man or a woman? Because both are needed for the birth of a child, so ultimately the question is that there were both of them, but they were also born from the womb. Well, was it a man or a woman? Because both are needed for the birth of a child, so ultimately the question is that there were both of them, but they were also born from the womb. At that time, there was no trace of humans on this earth. At that time, this earth was ruled by ferocious dinosaurs. But then one day, a meteorite several kilometers across struck the earth. Its force was so powerful that it produced energy equivalent to millions of atomic bombs, killing all the dinosaurs that ruled the earth and wiping out nearly 75% of life on earth. And this was the time when humans arrived on earth. But it was not so easy. Then how did we humans come to Earth? Let us see. The first question is whether the first humans who came to Earth looked like us or different from us. Then how did they evolve, and how did they reach the present generation? Actually, we have been taught that our ancestors were primitive humans who lived in the forest and survived by eating flowers, fruits, and meat. How much truth is there in these things? Were our ancestors primitive humans, monkeys, or something else? As H had told earlier, after the huge meteorite hit the Earth, huge plants, dinosaurs, and animals were wiped out from the Earth because the destruction caused by the meteorite was not ordinary. It was so dangerous that the forest fires continued to burn for many years. At that time, no birds were flying in the sky. It was not raining from the sky, but fire. Lava and fire were flowing in the rivers. Red fire was burning in the oceans. The sky was covered with black smoke. The sunlight did not touch the earth for many years. Instead of greenery on the earth, there was only black ash. All the leaves of the kunwar trees had turned into ash. Such a dark night had descended on the earth which did not end for years. But even in that dark night, life did not accept defeat. Because in the depths of the earth, in the deep caves, in the depths of the ocean, unknown creatures smaller than the spiders were breathing, who had saved themselves from the devastation caused by the meteorite. They had neither strength nor intelligence, but they had the will to live, due to which they saved themselves by clinging to the depths of the caves. But they were facing a serious problem of saving their life and future, because neither was there water left on the earth, nor food to eat, nor trees to grow. And there was no oxygen left to live. But it is said that those who have the desire to live find some way or the other to live. These were the creatures who, after centuries of struggle, changed with time and became intelligent. And from within them the seed of man was formed and later became the most intelligent. But this journey was not so easy. It took centuries, and the first beginning was after the dark night had passed and after the growth of fresh plants on the earth. The story of man's arrival on Earth has now reached this point when after the dark night, greenery started to emerge from that black ash. It seemed as if some power had started to color the earth green with its hands, about 6 crore years ago from today. The turn of time again changed. The fire of the earth slowly started to calm down. The black ash started to disappear from the sky. The dust started to clear, and the first ray of sunshine touched the earth, and the earth woke up again. As the sky became clear, changes were formed again, and drops of water formed from the changes in the sky, moistening the earth. And lots of small creatures living on the earth get water after centuries. After centuries, the thirst of those creatures and the earth is quenched. Those generations of creatures that had not seen water were deprived of water after lots of years. Water started pouring on the earth, and that water started wetting the black ashes lying on the earth. And wherever that water stopped, some new creatures started living there. Wherever water accumulates, lakes are formed and small plants sprout in those lakes. Due to rain, the heat of the earth starts decreasing and cold winds start blowing, due to which climate change occurs and the earth now becomes moist and cold. Due to rain on the earth, black ash and stones mix together and form soil. The oxygen in the air dissolves in that soil and makes it fertile, due to which small plants grow in that soil. These plants nourish that soil with green leaves, and after that, plants with big flowers start forming. In this way, greenery returns to the earth. The rays of the sun begin to kiss the earth, and the sound of water softens the earth, and the earth begins to breathe again. Now the question arises, how did those tiny creatures who survived the destruction of a meteorite become perennial? And how did those small creatures become humans? Or did humans evolve from monkeys? Let us understand this cycle of time and how humans became humans. The small creatures that were stuck in the caves due to the falling of a meteorite on the earth started coming out of their caves after water fell on the earth. Sunlight fell on the earth, and greenery appeared. But after centuries, when they came out of their caves, they were no longer small creatures, but had become animals. These changing creatures had transformed into species like rats, lizards, snakes, cats, etc. These creatures were no longer just ashes, but were living their lives by eating creatures smaller than themselves. As greenery began to appear on Earth, these organisms also began to eat fruits. These organisms continued to evolve, learning to live in water and fly in the air. Gradually, they began to take on various forms. Water-dwelling creatures became whales and dolphins, and flying birds became different birds. Some became tree-dwelling creatures, while those that lived on land became creatures like elephants, lions, leopards, couples, yaks, and buffaloes. From those tiny creatures, this huge world of living creatures emerged, but it was not so easy. About 55 million years ago, these tiny creatures in the forests of Asia and Africa learned to live on trees. They lived on trees, grew, and ate fruit. 20 million years ago, they underwent many changes, and that's where the diversification of these organisms began. Climate change, continental drift, and environmental changes during this period gave rise to thousands of new species. Around 20 million years ago, during the Miocene era, there was a massive explosion in the population of mammals on Earth. This was the time when many offspring of a single mammal were taking different forms. There was chaos in the number of creatures on Earth. Horses started running fast. Strong animals like rhinoceros started ruling the Earth, and big animals like elephants started dominating, which had taken gigantic forms. Species like whales and dolphins were born in the sea, and predatory species like dogs, cats, bears, jackals, etc. were also born in the same sequence. And thus, from the forests and vast grasslands of Asia and Africa, more than 4,500 species of mammals made their home, giving rise to today's biodiversity. But what stood out among this multitude of creatures was a species like the ape, which nested on a small tree branch. These creatures evolved in the forests of Africa approximately 20 million years ago. They had a special thing. They could hold things with their hands, they could eat them with their hands, and the biggest thing was that they also had some intelligence to think and understand, which made them different from others. That was the power of their brain. From here, the power of the brain developed. Their special thing was that they used to live in small groups like a family. They used to swing on trees, play among themselves, and snatch fruit from each other and eat them. Gradually, these mammals got divided into two groups. One group in South America, known as New World monkeys, and the other in Africa and Asia, known as Old World monkeys. But even now, the evolution of the most intelligent mammals on Earth, humans, is yet to happen. Among these more than 4,000 species, there was a special species called apes. Their size was big, their jaw was also big, and their teeth were also big and strong. Their brain was sharper and bigger than that of monkeys. They also lived on trees and tried to walk upright, even on trees. Later, many branches of their species formed, like gorillas, chimpanzees, and the last branch of apes that came was hominins, i.e., the branch of humans. This branch developed the most on Earth. After the arrival of hominins, the very structure of the Earth changed. From here, human life began. But the evolution of humans started with another devastating event 7 million years ago. A big change took place in the African continent. There was a big change in the climate of Africa as well. This change did not start suddenly. Due to changes in the tectonic plates of the Earth, caused by their collision with each other, chains of big mountains started forming. These mountains started blocking the path of moist winds rising from the sea. Due to this, the moisture-laden winds stopped reaching the interior parts of the continent. As a result, the forests of the continent started drying up, greenery began disappearing, and fires broke out in the forests, leading to their destruction. This era was similar to previous periods of destruction, but this time it marked the beginning of the era of humans coming to Earth. This period of deforestation continued for several decades, but then heavy rains began, which continued on the Earth for years. Changes kept taking place on the Earth. Due to this, creatures living on trees started coming down to the Earth and began living on the ground. After many years, when the rain stopped, sunlight started falling on the Earth. Following the end of the rains, trees and plants began to grow again, and large fields of grass started forming. Those creatures that lived on trees and resembled trees came down to Earth and started walking on 4 legs in the grasslands. But among these species of apes, there was one species that was different from all others. The name of that species was Sahelanthropus cadensis, from which we consider the beginning of the human lineage. Compared to other animals, Sahelanthropus cadensis had a slightly larger brain. He knew how to walk on 2 legs, but even now, he was like a monkey. His skull indicated that he could walk standing. Then the moment came when he bent a little and started walking on his 2 legs. This was the moment when he took his first step towards becoming a human. Even after listening to this documentary, you still assume that our ancestors were monkeys and humans also originated from monkeys. But in this, our scientists have 2 theories which they have obtained from their long research. One theory is that the ancestors of humans were monkeys which changed with time and became humans, which is our present generation. However, it is not written in science books that our ancestors were monkeys. Now the question is, from where did the first theory come that our ancestors were monkeys? And why are we humans compared with monkeys? Let us know. The great naturalist scientist Charles Darwin has a theory of evolution. In this theory, he said that living beings change themselves with time and according to their needs. But Darwin never said that our ancestors were monkeys. Charles Darwin only gave the theory of evolution in which he explained the changes that took place over time. He suggested that the ancestors of humans and monkeys must have been the same. However, the world caught hold of this idea, and a myth spread everywhere that the ancestors of humans were monkeys. The reality is that humans and monkeys evolved together, but it happened in different ways and at different places. This is the reason why there are both similarities and differences in humans. The ancestors of monkeys and humans were the same, but monkeys do not belong to our species. They belong to a different species from humans. Different species evolved according to the changes in time and weather. The incident that happened was 4 million years ago in a place in Africa called Ethiopia. This occurred in the forests of Ethiopia and involved a species known as Australopithecus afarensis. The story of finding this species is also very interesting. In the year 1874, some American scientists were restlessly searching for something in the forests of Ethiopia. They were digging the earth with a spade and a hoe when their spade hit something. Seeing this, they were all stunned and found a skeleton there, which they took to their lab. After reaching there, they discovered that the fossil of that skeleton was 3.2 million years old. It was 40% the skeleton of a woman, which revealed that she could walk on 2 legs. Her arms were long and her fingers were bent, indicating that she could also climb trees quickly. This was a creature that was neither human nor monkey. Australopithecus was a mixture of both. Those scientists named that fossil Lucy. It was Lucy who connected the missing link between humans and monkeys and told us that our ancestors were not monkeys. Lucy showed that the human species is similar to monkeys. Lucy walked on 2 legs like humans and climbed trees like monkeys. However, Lucy's discovery revealed that the journey of humans was not a straight line. Rather, it was a complex process with many branches, some of which ended with time. Lucy grew up with time and was a branch of the same tree. Some of its branches became today's modern humans. With the passage of time, scientists made an important discovery: Homo sapiens. Their fossils were found in the caves of Morocco in Africa. From this discovery, it was found that they are 300,000 years old and were 70% similar to modern humans. The special thing about them was their brain, which was as big as that of humans. The story of human evolution starts from here. How did Homo sapiens progress to become primitive humans? How did they learn to live in forests and hunt? How did they have a bigger brain than other creatures? How did they learn to light fire and make weapons? How did they progress to become modern humans and create language and society? Do not forget to watch our next part to know this. Till then, do not forget to subscribe.